I thank you very much for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast. So, a logo can't tell your story, but a great brand video can. And today, we're going to be have the privilege of having an Emmy award-winning. She'll tell her bio a little later, but she's going to explain to me what a brand can really do, a brand video, what it can really do, and what it really is, and why it might be the most powerful tool your business is missing today. We'll talk about it right after this.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
So, as I explained to you, this fabulous person we have today, her name is Mariana. And so we're going to ask this question. If anyone watched 60 seconds of a particular brand video, what should they remember about them? What should they trust? Or why should they want to buy from them? Or would they just want to scroll past without a second thought? So what should we do as far as building that for our brand video?
Hey, Maurice. First off, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to chat about this. I'm incredibly passionate about accelerating trust. So the entire premise of this is, how do we get a complete stranger who is meeting us for the first time or hearing about us and really understand what they do? What is that customer journey, what we call top of funnel, right? Like the moment they find out about, like, awareness 1.0, right? What happens? And then how do we use our story? Like, what is the best way to accelerate know, like, and trust? We know that we need to build know, like, and trust for people to buy from us. Right. So how can we make that process faster? And what happens is, so many of us in business, we've just accepted this really, really stinky, terrible myth that it takes 6 to 12 months of posting all the time on social media. Oh my gosh, like, I'm putting my kid to bed at 8 and like, I haven't posted today. Like, what am I going to put out there? Most of us, when we're starting our businesses, we don't have social media marketing teams. We don't have an agency. We don't have the support that we could have, right? That would help us with all of that stuff, with being consistent about sending our emails, about creating that content, about showing up on social media. But we've believed this myth that it takes 6 to 12 months of doing this consistently every single day, or at least like 3-4 times a week, in order for people to trust us and buy our offer. Right. And I love to flip that on its head, because not only is that a disservice for the people that we're serving with our offers and with our products, it is a disservice to our business, obviously, because this longer it takes you to make a sale, the less money you make. Think about it. $40,000 a year is not a great amount of money for somebody to make in this country in this year. However, if you were to make $40,000 in 6 months, that sounds a little bit better. If you were to make $40,000 in 1 month, now we're talking, this sounds really good. And then $40,000 you could make in a week, you could make in a day, right? And so essentially what we're trying to do is compress the time it takes to get from a person who's just landed on our profile, on our socials, they're checking us out, right? It's what I call the instant trust window. The moment you hear about somebody, what's the first thing you do? You go to their social media, you go to their website, you go to their LinkedIn or their Instagram, whatever it is. Like, you want to know who they are. And if we don't capture them in that very moment, if we don't make an impression on them, if we don't get them to feel something, to feel and I can explain what these are, but the trust triggers, then we are essentially then that myth becomes reality, where we're blending in with everyone else and we're having to fight to be heard above the noise through months and months and months and months of showing up consistently until they're finally ready to buy from us. Because what's happening is over the months, they're like piecing together this picture of who we are, what we do, and the fact that we are trustworthy. And what I do instead is like, I capture them right at that first moment they meet us. And we, through their brand, through your brand video as a business owner, you can create so much trust right away, so that every time you do show up, people are paying a lot more attention. They're a lot more engaged because you've been able to feel, to create this feeling of trust in them towards you.
So I want to talk about the elephant in the room real quick, because you said something about posting every day. And you hear some really, really big creators talk about that often.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and we feel as though those that post every day, they're in someone's face every day. We have that feeling like, hey, they're the ones that's having the most impact. But are you trying to say that might not necessarily be the case?
I'm not saying that wouldn't work. No. There's a big distinction here. By the way, I just got an email from Hermosi. Just landed in my inbox. I have not clicked on it, but you know how you see that little preview of the email?
Yes.
Right next to the subject line. And what he said was words I like to hear, or words I like. And it was, it's not about being smart. It's about being consistent. That's not wrong, but I much prefer to be smart. I don't know about you, but I know that showing up every day works. That just sounds terrible to me, because I don't have a team that's doing this for me. You know, if I did, great. Volume absolutely works. I mean, these big creators that you've mentioned, the big gurus that say this, they typically have a team who's doing this for them, right? When we're talking about you're starting your business, you're wearing all the hats, you're figuring out all the things, you're having to do everything from creating the thing to the landing page, to the funnels, to the offers, to the running the ads by yourself. If you're doing that, like, that is a lot of hats to wear. You might still be in your 9 to 5, right? And so, like, at what point can you actually live your life, right? And I know that, you know, in the beginning there is a sacrifice period, but even so, man, like, I want to be smart all day versus I want to be consistent, but I want to be smart about how I'm being consistent. And so to answer your question, this is how I can answer your question in the most succinct way. It's not that showing up every single day won't get you there. It's that there's a much faster way to do it. And the faster way to do it is to build trust as soon as somebody meets you, to build an instant connection with them, so that when you do show up, it might be less than every day, but when you do show up, there's a lot more impact. Like, do you want to show up every day and be lost in the sea of sameness, lost in the sea of content, and really having to fight, you know, tooth and nail for attention to like be heard above the noise? Or do you want to show up and have people actually pay attention to you because you've built that connection in the first place? You know, think about when you see your friends online, your good friend Paul, who you know and trust, like, you're paying attention to his, you don't have, he doesn't have to yell at you for you to pay attention. You already pay attention to him. So.
And so, because we hear this and we see this, we automatically think that these individuals have the trust already. Like, because there's a level of assumption, right? Because we see it so often, we hear their voice all the time. So we think that they are the expert. We think that they are the guru. And I think that what I'm hearing you is saying, hey, there's another way of perceiving this, because, again, for someone that might be just starting out, I haven't built up trust yet. So do I really need to copy what they're doing in order for me to be seen that way? So how would I develop trust, especially if I don't have the 35, 40 member team, you know,
that's
that
doing all
can
the
constantly
things.
doing it, or I don't understand what services are out there as well to say, hey, I did this one video, I could use Opus Clip to clip it up, right? You know, so how can I come out to be that, you know,
So,
that develop that trust?
So the way to do that, Maurice, is to understand that there is a way. First of all, we have to break that myth, right? We have to like be open to the fact that, like, I have proof. I have my clients who say people are jumping on my sales call without having those 4 to 5 emails back and forth. Like they already know me and trust me. We're right to it. Right. I have other clients who say, when I inserted my brand video into my welcome sequence, meaning somebody signed up for my lead magnet and right away they were watching my brand video, the open rate skyrocketed, but more importantly, the click-through rate skyrocketed. So people not only were watching her brand video, the click-through rate skyrocketed and the response rate to that email skyrocketed, meaning people who'd never met her before not only were clicking through to watch her video, but then coming back to the email and responding, sharing their own stories. Like, how impactful is that to get replies from completely cold audiences who have just met you, right? They are so much more engaged. Think about this. Every time she shows up, people are going to pay attention to her. And so again, breaking that, fixed idea that it takes showing up all the time. It takes, fighting to be heard. It takes being showing up as the expert constantly. And what I do is I help entrepreneurs realize and understand how to use their story, their own personal story, the thing that nobody can copy from them, the thing that AI can't, create without them, where you're not shouting above the noise, using your story in a way that creates that instant connection. And so the way that we do that is by hitting what I mentioned before, which is the 4 trust triggers. What are those? This is what you need to make your audience feel when you tell your story. You need to make them feel that you've got them, right? They need to feel, the first one is that you understand them deeply, that you get them. Very, very, 101 marketing is understanding your audience better than they understand themselves. It's very, very deep. So when I work with my clients, we go in extremely deep, way beyond demographics of like, oh, my client avatar has 2 kids, lives in Austin, Texas, and does this and makes this much a month. No, we understand their deepest fears, their like what they feel in their gut, what keeps them up at night, the voices in their heads that they can hear, the voices in their heads that they can't hear because they're that deep. So that's level 1. Trust trigger number 1. Trust trigger number 2, they need to feel that I get them and that I've got them. Right? I'm the expert. So I get them. I've got them. I'm the expert. This is where the expertise comes in. I'm so sorry. I'm messing up the order here. I get you. The second one is I care about you. They need to feel that you're not just a number. You're not just a lead. You're not just a dollar sign, right? I often quote like these bro marketers who love to share their Stripes screenshots, right? I'm like, I don't want to buy from you, dude. I don't want to be a number on your Stripes screenshot. Like I need to feel, and buyers are getting more and more sophisticated, right? We're talking about the trust recession right now in the online business world. And so I need to feel like you care about me so much that you will work with me to get results. Like you don't just care about making the sale and walking away. Number 3, I've got you. That means when I think of you, I think of the expert who will give me relief from my problem. Like I can trust you. Like trust is actually relief, right? When I trust you to help me solve my problem.
Wow. Yes.
There's relief, right? Where we're shedding weight of worry and weight of like this burden that's been on us from having this problem. So that's the 3rd layer of expertise, that you have the experience, you know what you're doing. I've got you. Number 4 trust trigger, we vibe. Our personalities align, right? Because you can get me, you can care about me, you can be the expert in this space in the thing that you do, but maybe our personalities are not the same. Maybe our values are not the same. Maybe, you say certain things in certain ways. I'm like, ooh, that's not really what we don't vibe, right? So that's number 4. There needs to be like a personality alignment. And this is especially true if you are a coach or a course creator, sort of in those fields where you're very much the voice of the business. If you're, in the product space, that's a little less, that's not true. Like think of all the products that we buy where the founder feels like somebody that we would be friends with, right? We buy so much based on alignment of values nowadays. So the 4 trust triggers is what you need to hit with your story in a video, because obviously video we know has so much more impact, so much more quickly. Like we digest video 60,000 times faster than we do with words. And so, yeah, that's a brand video in a nutshell, 2 to 3 minutes.
So here's the thing. What if I feel as though my story is not impactful enough? I went through school and I was a B+ student, and
Yeah.
I went to college, and but I had nothing to really shake me up. And I just had someone I spoke to the other day who said, "Hey, I've never been sick. I've never been late." I'm like, well, like, like
Is it
never,
Dwight Schrute from The Office?
like really, like nothing. So
Yeah.
so they just came off as if they had no eventful moments in their
Yeah.
lives. And so if someone is trying to build a business, they want to help out other people, but they feel like their personal story,
Their
they
personal
have
story
not
is
one.
not really relevant or something. Yeah.
Right.
So,
So how they do that?
well, my answer to that is this, Maurice. Your brand video is not actually about you. It might be your story, but it's not about you. And what I mean by that is the very first step that I guide my clients in and my students in is the first thing is they need to understand their audience deeply. And what I mean by that is you're just going to reverse engineer from that into your story. So you might have the most boring life ever, but you need to understand why your clients buy from you. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what you've done in your life. What matters is why did they choose you specifically? And so once you understand that, you can look for the personality traits. You can look for, everyone has a mission, right? Or should have a mission aside from just making money. Like, why do you choose to do this thing? And honestly, if at the end of the day, your mission is just making money, I don't want to buy from you. A lot of people won't have that draw to buy from you unless you're going to show them how to make money too, so maybe there's some alignment there.
Right.
But what you're looking for is less of like, was my life dramatic and tear jerking? And, did I go to the dungeons of Burma? Did I like climb the volcano? Like, did I lose a leg? Whatever. That's not what's needed. What's needed is understanding your audience so deeply and understanding which parts of your story are going to speak to their experience and to make them feel like they can trust you. And what that means is, why do they and this is how we reverse engineer it. You ask your clients, why did you buy from me? The moment that they buy from you. And so at that very moment, they have not worked with you yet. They have not actually experienced the thing yet. They've just hit buy. This is the most important moment in all of your marketing journey. Is the moment they buy from you, you need to understand what made you buy. What made you buy from me specifically? And once you know that, then you can reverse engineer to your story. I mean, I've had clients where part of their brand video is working a jigsaw puzzle. Why? Because what their clients love about them is that they take chaos and they simplify it and they make it something beautiful. Lo and behold, a jigsaw puzzle does that too. And that happens to be one of their favorite hobbies, right? So we're looking for what I call emotional visuals. So it's not just B-roll, it's emotional visuals that are really a character in the story that really move our needle forward, our feelings throughout this like narrative journey of your story. And so the visuals really complement what you're saying without having to be literal. They're more metaphorical.
So just correct me if I'm wrong. Are you telling me that I might need to be honest and true to myself maybe through this process? Because sometimes we see people and we hear people, we're not sure if they're real or not. So they make up elaborate stories and things like that. That's what we see, right?
Yeah.
That's what we hear
I mean,
in
I think
movies and
people
things
see
like
right
that.
through that, Maurice. I think there's more and more skepticism, more and more, like buyers are more and more sophisticated, right?
Right.
We are exposed to so much content. We are watching so much content where we can tell, most of us can tell if something's been written by AI like very, very quickly. We can tell very quickly whether you're just putting on a show, whether you're renting the Lambo and renting the Airbnb and like doing your spiel. Like, it's getting old. It's getting stale.
Right.
Yes, it still works. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I'm saying I actually don't typically work with folks like that. I typically work with people who hear what I'm saying and are that genuine person who truly cares about their audience. Like if I get the vibe that you don't care about your audience, you're not my client. Like you can buy my course and do it yourself, but I will not work with you on our done for you offer. So I think
Wow.
it's best suited. It is a really powerful weapon. And so I don't want to really help you further your business if that's your vibe, to be honest. Like, yeah.
And I brought that up because sometimes we're not sure what's real and what's not all the time, because we see so many people putting out the beautiful roof Chris dinners and things like that, and we think that, hey, in order for me to be a food critic, I need to go to these really, really expensive restaurants that are technically out of my budget, right? And so sometimes we hear that and we see that a part of people's story, so I can just go to the Roy Rogers and do the same thing and create that be part of my brand versus having to spend $300 on a baked potato.
I think that people oftentimes, especially early on in business, underestimate how important it is for them to be different, how important it is for them to own their own voice, to be that person who's not doing what everyone else is doing. I think it can, and I once paid over $10,000 for a coaching program where the coach heavily encouraged us to look at what's already working in the marketplace and model it, i.e. copy what they're doing. Right. That's not true. Copy and model are two different things. However, she didn't want to work with you to figure out how to make you unique in the marketplace. It was so much easier for her to just tell you to go look at somebody else's work that's definitely converting. And that is so detrimental to the lifespan of your business. Like it might work at first, but if you're not being true to yourself, you're not going to last very long in your business.
Right.
You are going to burn out. Right. You're going to be bored. You're going to feel counterfeit, right? You're going to feel fake after a while. And so I love the folks, and I feel like there's more and more a space and a welcome and like a desire, thirst for people who are doing things differently, who are verbalizing what they feel and what they think in ways that are not as restricted, in ways that are not, that are authentic, right? The big A word that floats around a lot. And what that means is I want to know that if I'm talking to Maurice, I'm talking to Maurice. I'm not talking, I'm not hearing Maurice say what he thinks he should be saying. And so, or he's doing what he thinks he should be doing to make more money, right?
Right.
To further his business. Like I want to get your take on the, like the $15 potato. I don't know.
Right.
Or $5 a potato. I don't know. $15 still sounds like a lot for a potato.
And on my end, I do believe that you need to be authentic. You need to be yourself. And if that means that you're going to Roy Rogers, even though it's not that many around, but you go to Roy Rogers, 7-Eleven, whatever it is, whatever's available to you, make the best out of it, because that's who you are and that's your environment. And there is a market of people that are in that same space. Everyone is not looking to be, at a Roof Chris or some type of Brazilian steakhouse or something, because that doesn't always bring people in, and so I think that even like for this podcast, I know it's not fit for everybody, right? But because I know I am genuinely who I am, I like to laugh, I like to joke.
You're gonna bring your people in,
right?
That's all that matters. The people that you want to be around. That's such a great point to Maurice, because I feel like I've attracted my clients and my students have all been people who I genuinely love to work with. I've not attracted any jerks, any a-holes, like, excuse my French. Like everyone has been so awesome, just like genuine, awesome people. And I really feel like that's a result of like you and on your podcast, just like being yourself, speaking like yourself. I think there's some level of refinement, and I don't share all of the nitty gritty of my business sometimes. I think it's, one way that I've heard it said is that sometimes it's it's a lot more important sometimes to share these scars and not the open wounds. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a little bit of gatekeeping, but
Mm-hmm.
when I do show up, I'm not showing up as anybody else,
Right.
so
Right. And there has to be, you can't tell all the secrets. You can't give
it's
up everything.
okay. And I think it's actually okay. It's totally fine.
But see now, on my end, I don't mind sharing because guess what? I can give you how I get it done, right? But guess what? It's not me though.
Mm,
You get what I mean? And with my flavor, my processes, I can tell you
yeah.
step by step and how I work it through, but it's not going to be my attitude towards it. It's not going to be my insight or my experience. So, for an example, do I do some video editing and shot some videos and stuff in the past? Yeah, I have, but I'm not on your level. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Mhm.
But you know, but the reality is that we both have touched it. We both have the same type of experiences, but one end you have your flavor and I have my flavor.
And that's
Eh,
what makes us awesome, right?
Right.
That we each have our own flavors and we can gravitate to where we feel best, where we feel like we belong, our people. That's exactly how it should be.
But see, I think that sometimes people will feel intimidated because of where you might have been in your life, right? What you have
Mm,
achieved, whatever. Is like, she'll never talk to me. You get what I mean? She don't have time for me. Why would she? Because she hasn't achieved, I mean, she's achieved way more than I ever will. And sometimes now I have to put on a whole new show for you, song and dance, right? Just to try to impress you. But what are you really asking for? Are you really asking to meet the real me? Are you serious? Do you want that? And sometimes we don't understand that genuineness that speaks more volume than doing that song and dance part.
yeah, I think there's a little bit of that. Not, I'm not no Alex Hormozy or something, but I also feel like, you know, people who do have a lot of people trying to meet them, a lot of people trying to get a coffee with them. First off,
Hmm.
um, there are lots of people underneath those people that
Right.
would still be amazing mentors, amazing advisors that are way more accessible.
Hmm.
So you don't have to always talk to the top of the top of the top. Not again, I'm not there, but I'm just saying there are lots of people who are ahead of you, a few steps ahead of you, who would be amazing folks to network
Right.
with. So that's one. Second of all, if you come with humility, if you come with how can I serve you and
Hmm.
not just what can I take from you,
Hmm.
most people, and this is what I love about entrepreneurship, is that the majority of people that you meet will be open to helping you because they were once there.
Right.
A lot of us did not start with, $100 million of funding in the
Hmm.
bank and, lots of experience. A lot of us were
Right.
not born into entrepreneurship. So I think there's an element of like, I remember what it was like in your
Mm.
shoes. Like, let me see how I can help you. And, I've had lots of people way further up than me who
Mhm.
promised to help me, who promised to open doors. And I followed through with them quite a bit. And
Mhm.
either they changed their mind or never heard from them, or
Right.
it just kind of didn't happen or fizzled out. And despite me following up, which is very important to follow up.
It is.
And then, you know what?
Mhm.
I just had something like that happen yesterday where
Really?
somebody had promised to send out an email on my behalf, like to essentially promote my stuff
Okay.
in their email list of, I think they have like 40,000 people in their email list. They're all, ideal clients for me. Not all, I'm guessing
Mhm.
majority. And she changed her mind and she said, you know what, now we're it was actually her assistant that wrote me back. She had said yes, and then she was
Mm.
like, well, we're kind of rethinking it. We might, have paid sponsorship opportunities. We can keep you in mind for that. And I'm like,
Wow.
really? Okay. Well, you know what, do you know what I thought, Maurice? I was like, God's closing that door, and I'm sure
Right.
there are 5 more that are about to be open. And I'm just,
Right.
you cannot let it phase you. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned in entrepreneurship, is that
Mm.
you can't be phased by the ups and downs. You just got to ride the wave. You just got to stay in your, like, focus on the work that you can do. Focus
Right.
on what's actually in your power to do, to move forward. keep sending the emails, keep reaching out to people, keep doing the work, keep building, keep progressing, keep, I feel like I'm quoting Hermosi all the time. I'm not even like a super fan, but just recently on his podcast, I heard him talk about how, and he talks about this all the time, but how if you keep at it and you keep improving, there is nothing keeping you from winning, right?
Mhm.
Like there's an element of time as long as you're improving over time,
Right.
but the consistency over time will get you there. And just knowing that you will get there. Like in
Mhm.
my mind, I'm a multi 8-figure business owner. I'm not there
Right.
yet, but
Right.
that's where I am already, if that makes sense. I'm just like building my way there.
Wow. So, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a mic drop. But I appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, that was there's nothing else I could say to that besides just everybody keep your head up. And so for those of us that are not sure of ourselves still, where can they reach out to you and find information about you, talk to you, maybe, take that self-coaching program, before they talk to you directly, whatever it might
Yeah.
be, how can they reach out?
For sure. So I'm on Instagram at Brand Magnetic. Give me a follow there. Say hello from Maurice's podcast. I'd love to say hello back to you. If you are interested and curious, if you're listening to at least the first half of our conversation here and thinking, man, that would be so interesting to have a brand or to at least know how to tell my story in a way that connects with people right away. If you're thinking like, my marketing is like not really dialed in, like if people land on my page, I don't know if they're really connecting with me or if I'm just kind of blending in right now. I do have a cheat sheet to help you, and it's going to help you really understand how to start building that like more practical way, how to start building your brand story. And you can grab that at brandmagnetic.com/cheat sheet.
All right. And of course, everyone, that information will be in the show notes. So if you're walking, running, swimming, whatever it is, you'll be able to come back to it and get the information. So I thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Maurice. Awesome to be here.
Sure, no problem. But before I let you go, I got the question I got to
You
ask you, right?
do.
So, again, no parameters. Use your imagination. Would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
I would rather choose the fork in the road. I'm guessing a fork has 2 options, whereas the 3 doors have 3 options. And if at least one of them is a great option, my chances are higher of landing on a great option. The other thing about the fork in the road is that I can see the road ahead, right? Where I can kind of assess. I have a bit more data. So yeah, I would choose the fork in the road.
You choose a fork in the road? So, with that fork in the road, because we're at one right now, I'm going to ask you another question
Okay.
before we go. So, if you could choose anyone to sing a duet with, dead or alive, who would that person be?
Pavarotti. He'd probably,
Really?
yeah, I think his voice would like overcome mine. And people would show up in droves to watch us. So yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate the insight on how you look at yourself and look at business, and even the audience that you're speaking to. I think those are the type of things that we could say, hey, you know what? I vibe with her in
Thank
those
you. Well,
situations.
if you come into my world, you'll see my brand video, but you can also watch it at brandmagnetic.com/Mariana. I usually recommend people watching that before they listen to me talk about a brand video, because then they kind of visualize it. They can feel what it's about. And that's so important because that's like the biggest driver of sales for me is people actually watch them. They're like, oh my gosh, like I'm not even their ideal client. And now I feel like this is who I would recommend to other people.
Right.
So yeah, if you want to experience it for yourself, make sure to watch the brand videos on my website and things like that, because then you'll actually get a feel for what happens when you do this.
And I'm gonna tell you, because I watch the videos myself.
Oh,
It's actually still up on my screen right now. And I have to say that you bring an element to that makes it feel like us regular humans can do it. to be
Oh,
honest.
good. Yeah, I love that. I'm a regular human too. Maurice. I'm not AI.
I know, right? I know, right?
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Maurice.
Sure. And I thank y'all very much for listening to That Will Nevr Work podcast. And I will talk to you just a little bit later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chism on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?